Welcome to the Rediscover You in Midlife Pod Summit, hosted by The Roller Coaster. My name is Lucy Q. 5 years ago, the emotional turmoil of midlife turned my life into a shitstorm. To make things worse, I had no idea that my chaotic emotions were due to the roller coaster of midlife. I thought I was crazy, and I felt completely alone. I've come to realize that midlife is more than a list of symptoms that we have to endure or cure. Midlife is the beginning of our next chapters. This is our time to be heard, to live our best lives, and to fix those pesky hormones. Join me as I chat with experts and industry leaders about nutrition, bone health, hormones, mindset, healing, journaling, living life to the fullest, and yes, even sex. I'm inviting you to throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride. I was finally able to start my journaling practice back in 2018, but that was only after several failed attempts. Before I was really able to connect with journaling, I had purchased countless blank journals with high hopes of pouring myself onto their pages. Instead of spilling my words of wisdom and insight, I'd find myself sitting there just staring at blank pages, painfully trying to find something to write. That is why I created Your Journaling Journey, a quick start guide to begin your journaling practice today. Your Journaling Journey is a guided journal with daily prompts, gratitude, and affirmations. You can get your copy of Your Journaling Journey today on Amazon or check out the show notes for links. Welcome back to the Rediscover You in Midlife Pod Summit. I'm your host, Lucy Q, and joining me is Susan Bratton. Susan is an intimacy expert to millions, a champion and advocate for all those who desire intimacy and passion their whole life long. She is co-founder and CEO of 2 corporations, Personal Life Media, a publisher of heart-centered lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills, and The 20, a manufacturer of organic and botanical supplements that enhance sexual vitality. Welcome, Susan.
Hi, Lucy Q.
Okay.
My name is Susan, but a lot of people call me Suze, S-U-Z. That's my nickname. Suze. And so some people call me Susie Q.
Oh, and Lucy Q. Yeah, there we go.
We're
Perfect.
Lucy Q and Susie Q. That's too cute.
And it's really funny because that was the name of our boat.
Was what, Susie Q? Or
Susie
Lucy
Q.
Oh, that's so cute.
The boat was called Susie Q.
All right, let's get this boat in the water.
There he goes. Get sailing. So I spent a bit of time today on your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
I went right down a rabbit hole because there was so much information in there that I had no idea. I was completely, not in shock, but yeah, I guess in shock at how little I knew, especially about my own body and some of the things that go on. And, one of the questions I sprung up was, I think I need a map of my own vaginal area for sexual purposes, because you were mentioning things that I was like, wait, what is that? And then I got wondering, is it maybe that people's sex lives are fizzling out in midlife because they kind of don't know what they're missing because they don't know these things?
Yeah, I think that for so many women in midlife, they're like, oh, menopause killed my sex life. And I'm like, probably just the last couple decades of shitty sex killed your sex life. It's like the blind leading the blind in the bedrooms these days, right? I mean, we're not really taught anything about anything sexual except procreation and abstinence and fear. There's a lot of that kind of stuff, and guilt and shame, and like, we're really good at teaching all that stuff, but we're not really good at teaching how to transform having sex into making love. And that's what I do. And it was interesting that you said, I think I need a map to my vulva, because I immediately was like, hang on, I have one. Let me get it.
You got a map.
Literally have the map, Liz. Hang on. They're usually sitting right next to me, but they got moved. All right. I'm coming back to I sit on this large tuffet to do my videos because it's more comfortable. I spend a lot of time in this chair. Okay. let's just start at the very, very basics. You've been, if you are not planning your next sex date with your partner before the one you're having ends, if you're not already thinking, oh, when are we going to get together next, then you're not having the sex you deserve. And there are 3 components to having the sex you deserve. And when you get all of those 3 things, you love sex and you feel good and you're excited about life and you're more confident and your nervous system is calmed down and you have more passion and creativity. And I honestly think that what women have been suffering from is just patriarchal control over our pleasure. Because if we had all the power and the pleasure that we deserve, the world would be so different. So the very first thing that I like to do is I like to give people a level set about their sexual health. And by this I mean, how do your genitals operate? What is it that you need in your body to feel pleasure? Because we've been having sex the way men want us to have sex, the way it feels pleasurable in their body. And I just want for women to say, you said, well, what would it be like if we knew what we were doing? It's like, well, let me tell you what you want. If you don't know what you want, because that's what women say to me all the time. I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm getting, isn't it? And I'm like, well, let me tell you what you want. And it's not that I know what every single woman wants. I mean, there's a lot of, things that are turn-ons to some and not so interesting to others. But generally, I have a pretty good idea, and it rings true for millions of people. So I'll lay that out for you. And it's really understanding your body, and it's also understanding techniques. You haven't been taught how to have sex, and so techniques are very important. And it's also about communication skills. And it's not just knowing what you want, but being able to ask for it and have your partner love you asking for it. And when they ask for what they want, you love that they asked you for what you want. Then you get on what I call the upward pleasure spiral, which is sex keeps getting better and better every time you have it. At 61, I'm having the best sex of my life. My vulva is in fabulous working order. It delivers me intensely exquisite amounts of pleasure. I'm just here to help other women have all of that. And I'd love to show you 2 pictures. The first one is the vulva. How's that video?
That looks good.
Okay.
I think I recognize it.
I'm showing you the outside because I'm going to show you what it's like when I take the covers off. That's what it looks like under there. So you know that, let me pull this one so I can see what I'm doing. Here's the mons pubis over the pubic bone, the fatty tissue. This is the outer area this is called your outer labia, and it's where the pubic hair goes, and this is kind of fatty tissue here. And this is the clitoral hood, and this is the clitoral tip. The shaft actually goes up this way under the hood. And here, where the hood turns into the inner labia, it comes down to the bottom into an area called the fourchette or fork. It's a French word. And then when you open the inner labia, there's your vestibule. This whole open area is called the vestibule. If you go from the clitoris down, the first stop in the vestibule is this urethral exit where your pee-pee comes out. And then this is your vaginal opening. The opening is called the introital sphincter. It's a round muscle like your iris. And then inside is the vagina. And so this is the entire urogenital system. The face of the vagina is called the vulva. And then the inside and all of the components are called the urogenital system. And what's interesting about it is that I like to call it the yoni, Y-O-N-I. Yoni is a tantric lovemaking word that is our total urogenital system and the worship of it. Y-O-N-I. So if I talk about yoni massage or your yoni, I'm really talking about all the parts, because Heretofore, we've gotten penetrated here and maybe touched here. And we have all of this beautiful, exquisite tissue to awaken when we feel more, so we can feel more pleasure. Now, any new info there for you?
I've got some, yeah, I've got the basics. I sort of knew all of that.
Okay, good. All right, great. So then peel away the skin, and here's that clitoral tip. I'm looking to make sure I've got this in the right place.
Yeah, you're there.
Clitoral tip, clitoral shaft, clitoral arms, or crura they're called, clitoral legs, or vestibular bulbs. These arms go backward a little, back and up actually a little bit. And these bulbs are what are underneath the pubic hair, under the labia majora. What's inside your labia majora are the bulbs. They plump up. And then this is where the pubis comes out. This is called your urethral exit. This is the G-spot. It's a long, spongy tissue that surrounds the urethra that goes from the bladder out.
That's the G-spot.
Yeah, this is the G-spot. This whole thing, it's not a spot, it's a long area full of delicious sensation. And then this is the vaginal opening. These are little glands, Bartholin's glands, considered to be for antibacterial purposes, antimicrobial purposes. And this is the perineal spongy tissue at the base between the vagina and the rectum. So you have the clitoral structure, urethral structure, and perineal structure. 3 erectile tissue structures surrounding the vaginal canal. And what's interesting about that is that if you think about a banana kind of as a penis, that whole banana fruit, the fruit of the banana inside the skin, is erectile tissue. So if you think about a penis and you think, okay, wow, he gets that hard on, and that's all erectile tissue. Well, it actually goes in and down inside his body. Half of his penis sticks out, half of it's in and down. So he's got a lot of erectile tissue. He's got a whole banana's worth. So do we. We have the same amount of erectile tissue all around our vagina in all those parts. But he's got the benefits of hemodynamics. His penis fills with blood very quickly into these 3 spongy chambers. He's got 3 spongy chambers of tissue too. He's got 2 corpus cavernosum and a spongiosum. The spongiosum is kind of like our G-spot where it kind of goes along the length of his urethral canal. So he urinates and ejaculates out of here. We urinate and ejaculate out of our urethra. Ejaculate is different than urine. We can ejaculate and we can urinate. Our body knows how to do that, just like our male body part. He's not peeing inside us. And we don't pee when we ejaculate. And what's nice about it is that, he's got half or maybe a third inside, depending on his penis formation. But it flows in very quickly for him. For us, it takes a bit of time to fill in all these nooks and crannies. So
yeah, you kind of have to warm things up. You can't just go straight for the home run.
Well, and I don't even like to think about a home run, because whose home run is it?
That's what I mean,
right?
Is it typically that's, certainly I'm going back to, let's say we, pretty much all of us are becoming sexually active in our teen years, and we really don't know what we're doing. And I think that's where a lot of these preconceived misinformation starts to build from, is from those initial acts. And then, and going back to when I was in high school, I mean, where did you get information from? You were taught the basics of sex ed, and then you had the fear of God put in you because in the 80s it was all about the AIDS crisis. So there's all of this fear and uncertainty around it, and you just kind of go with the flow through your adulthood, and then all of a sudden you get to port and you're like, there's got to be more than this. And I think I was talking with a lot of midlife women where they're saying they're kind of reaching the point in various areas of their life where it's like, okay, wait a second, there's got to be more. Yeah. And obviously in the bedroom is one of those places where you start to have different desires and different cravings.
Yeah. And so if we think about intercourse as the main event, that's very patriarchal focused. He wants to put his penis inside us because that's what feels best to him. But all of the things leading up to intercourse feel really good to us. And a lot of women don't have orgasms from intercourse yet. And I always say yet because all women can orgasm from intercourse. It's a learned skill, like all of sexuality. And the more techniques you know, and the better you communicate, the more pleasure you create. But the moment he puts his hands on you, even before he walks in the room, your own solo pleasuring practice, your yoni massage, your full body massage, kissing, breast play. Whoop, hang on, I dropped my little earbud. I don't know why they can't make these things stickier. Breast play, oral pleasuring, all of these things are sex. There's no main act. Just because intercourse makes babies doesn't mean it's the main act. You might some days only want oral. You may want to do 69 where you mutually pleasure each other at the same time, simultaneous mutual pleasure. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't concentrate. I can't have an orgasm because I'm too busy trying to, satisfy my partner." And I'm like, relax.
And that's it though. But
Relax.
that's it, is that I think as women, we focus on the orgasm. It's like that's the goal. And, our brains are busy as women. I mean, guys, they have a single thought and they go with it and they're good. Women, I've spoken to a lot of women and they're like, 1 minute I'm thinking about what I'm doing. Next minute I'm thinking about the grocery list. And then you got to bring your focus back to what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And then you're sort of caught up in crossing that finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And done. I think, and in one of your videos, you were saying something about, even women, when they're masturbating, they put all of their focus on the clitoris.
Yeah.
And reaching that orgasm that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember that your entire vagina is wrapped in erectile tissue, as much as he has in his penis. And so until you get that fully engorged and filled with blood, which I bet many of the women on your pod summit have never even experienced, never even given themselves the time or requested the attention, manual, oral, using toys, not just penis, right? But all the other things that generate pleasure for us. How many of us are even requesting or allowing ourselves to have the time that it takes to get a full vulva erection, a full yoni erection? We've had rushed sex every time we've had sex. And we've been focused on getting to penetration. Well, who says that's what we should be doing? The goal is orgasm. But it's lots and lots of orgasms. It's orgasmic pleasure the entire time. It's orgasming from your mouth and orgasming from your breasts and orgasming from your belly and orgasming from your many parts in your yoni and orgasming from whatever it might be. It's feeling incredible pleasure that doesn't come from just jamming a vibrator on the tip of your clitoris and forcing a contraction, which is really what most people are having right now. It's like a sneeze kind of a thing, rather than being in this honey golden bath of pleasure. But it's learned skills. You build yourself up to it. You can learn how to orgasm from intercourse if you have a fully engorged yoni. Then when a penis goes inside it, when you're ready and you want it, when you really want it, when you've had plenty of foreplay and pleasure, and it's not even foreplay, it's just sexual pleasure. It shouldn't be, I'll give her 10 minutes of foreplay and then I stick it in. I call it grab a boob and stick it in sex. And that's what most people are having, grab a boob and stick it in. And they're like, yeah, really, I know, we need to do foreplay. And even women, we're shortchanging ourselves. Yeah, we could do more foreplay. And it's like, it's not foreplay. It's called sex. Sex isn't intercourse. I want you to have intercourse. I have the most I literally last week had the best intercourse of my life at 61. I looked at my partner and I was like, my God, that was just an incredible journey we had. He's got this way of finding, I always tell him he's like creating new rooms up in my vagina. Oh, you found another room up in there. Like he's built out more rooms in my womb, like he just has a way of kind of curving his penis and sliding it into these nooks and crannies in my vagina. And it's like, we were just out of our mind with pleasure. I couldn't tell where because he knows how to feel his pleasure without ejaculating. He can be in orgasm. I can be in orgasm. When we're like that together, we can have this experience where you can't tell when his orgasm starts and my orgasm ends. It's all just so pleasurable and melting and beautiful and connected and slow, and no performance and no pressure and no worry and no goal. And you can come the whole time there's a penis inside you when you learn how. I call it crossing the gasm chasm. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel that are about how to have penetration orgasms, how to have orgasms from intercourse, what are the things that are missing for you, because different things are missing for different people, because no one taught you how to do it. So you might be doing like 3 out of the 5 or 4 out of the 5 or whatever it might be. I don't even know if it's 5. I mean, there's a whole little list of things I go through, because a lot of conditions have to be right for you to have that orgasm. But once you cross that gasm chasm and you start having them, then you're pretty much guaranteed to have them every time, if you get all the things you need to achieve them. So number 1, stop thinking about sex as penetration. Think about it as the whole thing. It's not even foreplay. It's just all play. It's all pleasure. At the moment you're together, the pleasure begins. And that you can learn all the 20 different kinds of orgasms a woman's and a man's body can have. And when you begin the journey of, when you say to yourself, oh, my sexuality is my right and my pleasure, I'm going to take this opportunity now to put some focus and attention on my sexuality. I want to learn new skills. I want to learn communication techniques. I want to keep my genitals healthy. And that I can know all of these things. They're very available to me. You know, you've got Susan Bratton. I've got hundreds of free videos. You literally don't have to buy anything from me. I sell online programs that teach specific orgasm techniques like expanded orgasm and female ejaculation and male body full multiple orgasm, the one I was saying that my boyfriend does. And you can learn all of these things, but you don't have to. You can start with them, and you should start with the basics. You should just start incrementing your knowledge. And when you begin to do that and you begin to learn together, all of a sudden that dude that you've been having pretty mediocre sex with for God knows how many years, or now that you're back in the dating pool, you're looking for a partner, what do you want? How do you turn menopause into the most fantastic opportunity for your sex life you've ever had? Because menopause affords you a number of things beyond worrying about conceiving. It gets you in that mindset you said, Lucy, which is, I'm gonna get me some now. It is my turn. I'm sick of this bullshit. You know, it's like all of a sudden you're like, I'm seeing my mortality. If it's not now, it's never. And all right, so I don't look perfect, and I ain't gonna look any more perfect. I've been beating myself up forever. My whole life I've been telling myself, you're too fat, you've got saggy boobs, you've got cellulite on your butt. This is what estrogen does, just like what you were saying, Lucy, about the monkey mind. You know, sex is a mindfulness act. You've got to keep bringing yourself back into sensation. What are you feeling? Are you heart connected with your partner? When you begin to learn these new skills together, in whatever path you want to go, then you begin as beginners together. You get new relationship energy. You feel like teenagers. You start to have good times. You increment your skills. You feel like, oh my God, that was really incredible. You start to fall in love again. You can have a renaissance in your relationship, or a renaissance in your sex life with a new relationship, or a few new relationships, as long as you're safe sexing, which are also on my YouTube channel, how to have the safe sex talk, when to have the safe sex talk, which STI test to order. Go forth, have sex, try things, learn skills, satisfy yourself. We have an unbelievable potential for pleasure.
And I don't know if you caught the movie, Emma Thomas was in it, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand.
Was that the one where she was dating the younger guy and she was just like, screw it?
She was a widow, and yeah. she'd actually expressed that she's never had an orgasm.
Yes.
And
she hired a
male prostitute.
Yeah.
And I think that movie did a really good job of highlighting what, first of all, complete kudos to Emma Thompson on that one.
I know.
Because she was so vulnerable. I couldn't imagine standing naked in front of a mirror in front of whoever else was in the studio at that time, also knowing that the whole world was probably going to see that. But I think that movie did a really good job of highlighting what a lot of women have experienced, and that's just not knowing any different. And I also want to be cautioned, I want to caution that it's not that we're bashing men, because it's not like it's not like men knew any different either. And if I don't know what's going on in my own body and how to pleasure myself, then what is this? Game of Clue for your partner to figure this out for you?
Yeah, let me tell you, I was going to give you a different book as my free gift. I was going to give you the Vaginal Restoration book, which you can have, vaginalrestorationbook.com. I do want to talk a little bit about keeping your vulva, your yoni, in good shape. I want to take 2 minutes to at least cover that, because for a lot of women, they're like, but it hurts, and I want to fix it, so that you can have all these things we're talking about. Because if you're the woman who's like, I don't know if I could even do any of this, you can. But I have a book called The Sexual Soulmate Pact. It's at Sexual Soulmate Pact, P-A-C-T, like an agreement.com. And I think that I could teach you 1,000 pleasuring techniques. I could teach you oral skills. I could teach you intercourse techniques. I could teach you so many things. Yoni massage, lingam massage. Lingam is the penis. Yoni is the vulva in tantric sex. I could teach you all those things, and many of them I teach for free. But if I don't teach you how to ask for what you want and how to feel confident you know what you want, how to listen to your body's intuitive wisdom, it's always talking to you. We've just societally tuned it out, being people pleasers, putting other people first before ourselves. And this is your time to put yourself first. Menopause is a time when you're like, I'm letting go a lot right now. I'm open. I'm like sitting in uncertainty. I'm crossing some chasms. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just not looking back. I'm moving forward. I'm open. Nature abhors a vacuum. She's gonna fill it. What's she gonna fill it with? You have a choice for pleasure now, on your own terms, listening to your body, which is a perfectly normal body response. We all have the same response. We just need to start having sex like our bodies need. Women make the matriarchal view of sex, because our guys don't live in our bodies. They've been basically running the bedroom game. Porn is the patriarchal view. Movies and TV are mostly the patriarchal view, except that one movie you can mention, right? And so we have to write the stories ourselves. You're writing your own story through your menopausal transition. And this is a part of the story for you. The story of your awakening to pleasure, awakening to sensation, awakening to connection, awakening to a deepened intimacy you've never experienced before, because you're going to be able to let go of body image issues. Like I said, it ain't getting better. Just enjoy what you have. The meat package is the meat package, and it serves you well, so love it. And learn some skills. But the one skill is a communication technique, which is how to know what you want, how to ask for it, and have your partner love hearing your requests and be like, tell me more. I love it when you tell me. How is it now? Thank you, baby. Is this what you wanted? And for your partner to not contract, feel rejected, shut down, to actually take it in. It's a ninja technique. It's at sexualsoulmatepact, PACT.com.
Well, I am definitely going to make sure that is available to everybody, because I think that's a really good starting point. And I think that's what a lot of us need, is just to dip the toe in the water, just to open up that conversation, because after 30 years of having the sex that you've had,
right,
you can't, I guess some couples can just dive in head first, but I think you kind of have to come at it the right way, just so you're not upsetting your partner, whatever you're doing.
If you're bored,
so I'm going to make sure that is available to everybody. Mm-hmm. And for our Pod Summit listeners, to get your copy of the, the vaginal restoration, and I'm going to make sure that they can connect with the Sexual Soulmate Pact. Make sure you go to nectargrowth.com. That's nectargrowth.com. And by being part of this Pod Summit, you will receive the first 30 days free. but I know you're going to want to hang out because we have a lot of fun there. It's completely away from social media and has all kinds of resources, and we're adding more every month. And you will be able to join in our monthly fireside chats. Now that's where you can connect with women just like you and share an authentic conversation. And yes, ladies, when we need to, we are going to vent. So make sure you join us at nectargrowth.com. You'll find the links in the show notes and your daily Pod Summit emails. I'd like to thank you, the listener, for joining us today. And I'd like to thank Susan so much for your expertise today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Lizzie.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creative.
Life is like a roller coaster,